Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for The Family Business. So the episode starts out with Orlando and basically everybody who has a hand in the security um, of the Duncan family. They are all surrounding Kennedy's grave. They had to go to a random spot, a random graveyard, I guess, and bury him. But they crying down. They passing a bottle of like champagne and liquor, all this stuff. Like everybody is crying. Everybody tired. Orlando is crying down. Like I feel like he's crying because he really was like family. And at the same time, it's like, really? He went out saving my family and he's just so angry. Like I really feel like he's crying out of anger and because of the way that this man went down, because he really was like family to them. So he told them, y'all need to shut everything down. We got to find these people. And then, they got dismissed. And so he was left alone with him at the graveside or whatever. And he put his hand in the dirt and he was just like, we're going to find them. And he put the bottle of champagne in there and he told him that that was for him. He just had it sitting in the dirt and then he was just like, okay. And then he walked off. He was just crying so hard. I was like, oh my gosh, Jesus, fix that. Like I really was not expecting him of all people. Like I've seen other random people. Like I just really wouldn't have thought that he would have been one of the people. Now maybe one of the other people that we very rarely see. We see like a glimpse of, not one of the twins, not Rob, but like one of the other people. But not Kennedy. I liked Kennedy. Golly. Rio came into the main lab that we saw last time, where that woman was going to decide whether or not she was going to be the one who was running it. He came in and he told him that it was shut down. And so she was like, you can't do that. The only one who could shut this down is, and she was about to say Orlando, and Orlando appeared and he was like, me. And I am shutting it down. And he trying to say it's for maintenance, and I guess because they want to really keep it low profile and not really say anything. Let it just let it be something that's in house, because it is a sensitive situation. It's too much going on. It's a lot. Don't nobody else need to get caught up, and just let them know that, like, look, hopefully we will have everything straightened out within the next week and a half, and basically gave everybody a stack of cash that should hold them over until then. And old girl was mad, but she walked out and she took the money. But she was staring him down in particular. Harris was there and he handed out the money, but it was just like, So then Orlando went on ahead and put Rio up on game and was like, because Rio was like, well, aren't you afraid that they're going to try to duplicate Heat? And so he was like, no, they actually have 6 labs spread out, and they have it where certain steps are executed only at those labs. So unless you have the complete formula, you're not going to know what to do. Like certain things are done at those specific locations. And I'm like, you are like, he really is smart. He was a hoe in the beginning. He really was a hoe, something terrible, like I said last time, but he is very smart. And apparently only him, now Rio, his brother-in-law Harris, his daddy, and maybe one other person, they are the only ones who knew and or knows about that being the case. So I'm just like, that is very, very, very smart, because people really could understand how lucrative it is and take it and run with it and do the most and have you out here missing out on your money. And they are getting money hand over fist. So I don't blame them. Somebody rolled up on who I'm going to guess is one of the, or if not the actual head person over the Chinese Connect that the Duncans have affiliations with, and presented him with a letter. When he opened the letter, he got mad and was like, what is this about? And he was like, is this a joke? And he was just like, Mr. Duncan doesn't joke. And he was like, yeah, you're right, he doesn't joke. And so he was like, I'll see him tomorrow. Then he immediately got on the phone, was talking to somebody, and he was just tired. He was just like, this has to be a joke. And so it is what it is. So then what happened next, y'all? Anyway, like I was saying, what happened next was Brother Elijah came and actually brought the food that he promised to bring Sasha. And when he came in, she was like, what's this? And he was like, I'm sorry about what happened the other day. And, because Brother Samuel came in there and was doing the most. And so, that put a smile on her face to see him because, like I already told y'all, he fine. And Brother Samuel, he gives off this creepy vibe, and he really, and rape vibe, and ain't nobody got time. Like, He made it painfully obvious that if he come in there, it's going to be a whole nother, completely different story than what has been going on with Brother, see, every time I try to say brother whatever, that messes me up. But y'all know who I'm talking about. So anyway, he presented her with the chicken from Wendell's. And like I told y'all before, I really feel like that's going to be code for something, because he said that when he went in there, first of all, he went that day that they initially were supposed to go and it was closed, or it might have been too late or something like that. So anyway, what happened was he went this specific day and he was like, I ordered the wings the way you wanted them. The owner of the place looked at me really strange, but they did it for you. And I'm like, I really feel like this is code for something. I really feel like if it's not something that has been specified by the family, I feel like he gonna figure it out and be like, wait a minute, the most already going on with Junior. Let me check with LC and them and see if something popped off. Because I really feel like it's code for something. So anyway, they talking. And so he was like, I really would hate for things to get physical, because they are expecting me to, basically start breaking her down. And all of this came about with him even revealing this, because she was like, you're so nice. And he was like, I'm not always nice. And so that kind of wiped a smile off her face. So when he said all of that about how he might have to go ahead and start breaking her down, breaking her in and all that, and not being so nice, she invited him to have a seat. And then they started eating the wings. And she was like, I'm telling you, it's really, really good. Had him eating them. He said they was good. So they started talking. And she wanted to know, how did they become to know one another? And he was like, well, I was 17 years old. I went to the corner store to get like some random snacks, because he found out that he was accepted into a certain university. I think it was FAMU or something like that. But he ended up getting a scholarship. That's amazing for you to get that. And I'm just like, okay, come on, historically black college and or university. Come on now. So anyway, she was like, oh, that's amazing. That's a good school. He was like, yeah, very good school. So what happened was the police were conducting a raid or something of that block, and everybody was running, and he didn't feel the need to run because he hadn't done anything. And all the corner boys and people who were doing the most, they dropped all the drugs on the ground. And when they did, since he didn't run and he was a blackface in that area, they went on ahead and snatched him up, threw him in jail, and every bag that had been found on the ground, he was charged with it. So he was going to actually have to pull 3 years for a crime that he didn't commit. So while he was in jail, that's when he met Brother Xavier. So he met him because there were 5 men who were trying to rape him. And Brother Xavier made sure that that didn't happen. So he has forever been in his debt and very gracious about that. And that's when he was introduced to the Brotherhood. And he trying to say that he made him a man and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, thank you for saving me from getting raped. But you into some stuff and ain't nobody got time. I can't. And so she was just like, I understand now. And I'm like, yeah, I get it too, but you're doing too much. So I think one of the twins hand delivered a letter to the Jew, and he got mad and he balled it up and was like, see, I told LC that this was going to happen. And he got mad, and the twin, went on by his business. And then they showed, I know his name now, DJ, the man who got the salt and pepper situation going on, that's a part of the security and things, the muscle. Whew, DJ a little fine to me. But anyway, DJ went all the way to Mexico to hand deliver the letter to him. And basically, everybody who has any affiliation with them, who was moving the product and they're getting their product from them, the major players, everybody is getting a hand delivered letter. And everybody has to wait. Whoever is delivering it, they have to wait for the response. And so he was like, what is going on that you had to come all the way to Mexico? And he was like, I don't know what's in this letter. They gave it to me and they told me to wait for your response. And that man's son irks my soul. Like, I'm like, you ain't learned the first time. You be popping off and you don't be understanding. You apparently don't understand how it goes. I would not be shocked if he ends up dead before it's all said and done. Especially if his dad ain't around and he pop off around the wrong person. All because he thinks, like, I feel like he feels it. I feel like he thinks that he's untouchable. Because his daddy is who he is, and because of his affiliation with the cartel, I guess all because of his relation to his daddy yet again. I'm just like, the entitlement, it just has to stop. It's the entitlement for me. It has to stop. But anyway, he read it and he was just like, okay. Because he was like, well, what does it say? He read it and he basically was saying that, they are requesting his presence in New York tomorrow. So everybody is going to be at a meeting tomorrow, meeting with LC, because the Molson popped off and they don't understand why their shipment is being cut off, but I guess he's going to explain at the meeting. So Brother Elijah came in, and I'm guessing it's the next day, and he says good morning, and he presents her, Sasha, with eggs and turkey bacon. Because pork is not allowed. So he was like, this is a personal favorite of mine. I figured you might want something different. And so he was like real close up on her. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I feel like the chemistry is there, or at least he lives for her, because she is a very pretty person. So, whoo, child. It has gotten to the point where he's just like, they are not pleased with the progress that I'm making with you, which is nothing. I need you to tell me what your real name is now. And she's like, I told you, my name is Sasha. He was like, okay, well, what's your last name? And I mean, for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, she told him that her name is Sasha and that she is a journalist trying to do an expose on Brother Xavier escaping and all this other stuff. But the way that things are going and the way they're acting, it's going to turn into a book because she's being held captive. And Brother Elijah is not believing anything that she is saying at all, especially with her name being Sasha. And then she won't give up her last name. And she was like, I can't do that. I can't, put my family's life in jeopardy like that. And I'm like, she's telling the truth. Now, it's crazy because what she's saying that she is, even though it's a lie, it really could be believable. It really could be, because everything she's saying, that really could go for a journalist as well. But yeah, she's gonna be in for a rude awakening if her family cannot find her fast enough, because Brother Samuel is going to probably take over if he's not able to break her, or her family's not able to find her first. The most is going on, and she is sensing that he is very scared of Brother Xavier. And he was like, everyone should be. Okay, y'all. So the last person, I'm guessing this is the last person to get their letter, is Sebastian. He was in the middle of getting his hands and feet massaged by the two heifers with that awful white makeup on that they be wearing and the eyeshadow. I'm just like, what is with the white? Look, I guess it's supposed to be cocaine. That white girl with the white girl on their face. And I'm just not understanding. I don't understand. Like, is all of this supposed to be a drug reference with all this white? I don't understand. But anyway, so somebody comes and hand delivers it to him, and he ain't here for it. And he just gonna have to come to the meeting and see what's going on, because they have put a stop to his order. And so they end up showing LC, Charlotte, Orlando, and I don't know why I keep wanting to say Nate, but that ain't his name, Harris, all at the house, and they sitting and they talking, and they're saying that they've heard from everyone except the Jew. And so LC is like, well, he's probably pissed that we, canceled his order. We'll probably see him later on at the meeting. And I'm like, I'm gonna need for y'all to think a little bit harder, because he is the reason why a lot of this stuff is getting as far as it is, because he has been feeding information, and good information at that, to these people. So yeah, it's crazy out here. So they actually had the meeting, and Bernie, the Jewish man, was the only one who didn't show up. And everybody want to know what they're there for. And I'm talking about, come on now, if old boy who is in a wheelchair can make it there all the way from Mexico, like he traveled the furthest away from than everybody. So ain't no excuse for him not to show up. And he lives in New York, right up the street from them, basically. But anyway, so Sebastian and his feelings don't understand why they there. Old boy was like, don't make me have to roll over there and leave tread marks all over you. And he politely went on somewhere and sat down, because he tried to get into it with Orlando. Because again, it let them know that everything was shut down for right now. Nothing is going out. Everything is shut down. Ain't nobody doing nothing. No production, no nothing. And so he trying to understand why he getting bucked. And everybody's like, And I love the fact that he seems to be like the main person asking the right questions. And he is actually acting concerned. It's like, don't sit up here and set it off because you're not getting what you feel is your way. Figure out what's going on so that the production can start back up again. Why are you trying to make it complicated when it ain't got to be? So anyway, they were informed about what was going on. The Chinese, as we already heard like some episodes back, they contracted out their services. And so they already knew about him, but nobody else knew. And Sebastian is like, this is not our fight, because old boy, who, is Consuelo's brother, was like, if y'all got a problem, we got a problem. We like family. And he was like, well, he over here screwing some man's wife. I don't think that has anything to do with me. That's a personal matter to me, not business, because they were trying to say this is business or whatever. Because at first they didn't say nothing about, like, as far as that part of the situation. And that's why, y'all know Xavier is trash. But anyway, if he ain't getting his full way, he mad. So yeah. So everybody was like, okay, what are we missing out on? What is he talking about? And so they let him know it is what it is, but we tried to rectify the situation. We were told by Brother Minister that we had a 48-hour peace treaty that they violated, and they took our relative and all of this other stuff. So basically, he was speaking on behalf of everybody. Old boy was like, if y'all got a problem, we got a problem. So we gonna cheers to that. So they cheers it up, and Sebastian ain't want nothing to do with it. And it was like, what are you doing? Where you going? Leave it so soon? And he was like, look, I ain't a fighter. I ain't got time for this. Y'all fight your own battles. I have options, y'all don't, and walked out. And my thing is this. Rio need to stop talking to him so much. And I think Bernie fed him some information too. Well, no, he keeps getting his information mainly from Rio. Rio need to stop talking to him about this personal stuff. And if it ain't about heat, then stop talking to him. So anyway, golly, I was like, boy, if you don't shut up. So then Orlando went over to the facility that woman was running, and she was there. He was like, I closed down this facility. And she was like, I know, I'm getting all my things. I'm not going to be working here anymore. And so he was like, we don't need you to do that. We are more than happy to overly compensate you for your time and go above and beyond. And she was like, it's not about the money. I graduated the top 10 of my class at Johns Hopkins, and I'm good. I can go anywhere and make more than what you're offering. So that's not the issue. Money is not the issue. Money is not the reason why I'm working here. And she was just like, I like working with someone who is just as passionate about chemistry and creating a product like this, like I am. And she's referring to Orlando. And he was like, yeah, I understand that, because he like lives for this stuff. Like when this first came on, I would have never pegged him as the type, because he's such a hoe. But yeah, he's like really, really smart, and he's into all that stuff, and he knows what is going on. And I'm like, ooh, yes, I'm here for a nerd. A nerd for a nerd. But anyway, so he could tell where she was going with the rest of what she was talking about. And he was like, our policy is clear on no fraternization. And she was like, well, technically, I was just furloughed. So, and then, we are supposed to infer that they have started to screw. Rio met up with Sebastian. He is highly upset. He then came in, went to the bar. He pouring up drink after drink, very, very frustrated, telling him about his brother. And he was like, you need to trust me. I told you you can trust me. And he eventually goes into this big old tote filled with bags, like big clear bags. Big clear bags of heat. And he was like, is this for me? He was like, I told you I got you. You need to trust me. Oh my gosh. And he was like, don't tell anybody about this. If my family finds out about this, they're going to kill me. And so I was just like, Rio, you have barely got your foot in the game. They already just started trusting you with a lot of vital information. And for you to do this for Sebastian, and my thing is this, I feel like Sebastian is playing on his emotions in order to get special treatment. And I'm just like, come on now. You know he like you. He wouldn't have done this if he ain't like you like that. So just stop with the theatrics. Oh my gosh. I fought this heifer up. I had to have fought her up for her to pop up. So the sex club that I think Orlando went to like earlier, like in the first half of the shows that dropped for this season. Remember when he went to this sex club and like it's like $1 million or $500,000, $500,000 membership or $1 million membership per person or something like that? Yeah. So they showed the women getting ready for the lunch crowd, and then somebody came in and said they had a surprise visitor. It's Ruby. Now, Ruby was the woman that I literally just was talking about the heifer, and I couldn't think of her name for nothing until she walked in the door. The heifer Ruby is the woman who Orlando fell for, and he was basically becoming a one-woman man for. And he met her at this sex place and lived for her. And some stuff popped off last season. And y'all, the most went down last season. Oh my gosh. If you ain't seen this show, you need to catch up. You need to go back and watch it because the most popped off for real. But anyway, so she came in there. She was like, I got a surprise for you. And all this other stuff. And so I think the woman who was like over it, she ended up calling Orlando, letting him know that she was there. And so he was about to leave. He actually was bayed up. Not really made up, but he was in the, house with the girl who was at the, I was about to say clinic, in the lab or whatever. I don't know if they had already had sex, they were about to have sex, but she was in the bathroom putting some lipstick on and freshening it up, and she overheard the whole conversation. He done went off to some, she was there. Where was she? Why didn't you call me sooner? Like, he going all the way off about Ruby. So then she gonna come out the bathroom after the conversation over. He getting dressed. So she was like, oh, you're dressed. He was like, yeah, I gotta go to work. She was like, oh, are you sure you gotta go to work or you gotta go and see about Ruby? And he was like, oh, so you listening to my phone conversation? She was like, no, you were talking loud enough for me to overhear it. And so I'm just like, girl, y'all are not together. You are not with him. All he did was bust it wide open, tell you to bring it back. That was all that happened. Y'all are not a thing. That was an entanglement of sorts. Nothing is official like the whistle over there. Just stop. So anyway, I was just like, girl, if you don't go somewhere, sit down. Paris then rolled up on her mama, and her mama like, look, I ain't got time for your foolishness. What you got going on? Why are you rolling up on me? And so she was like, I need to talk to you about something. So she was like, is it about Sasha though? Like, she ain't trying to talk to her. She don't want to hear nothing she talking about. So she was like, I mean, partly. So then she explains to her that she's been thinking and a lot has been going on and she wants to move to Europe. And so she's looking at her like, girl, this is not the time to go gallivanting all around the place like you're doing the most. And so she was like, I've been in a weird place and my mind is all over the place, and I just don't think I need to be here anymore. I really think that's where I need to be. And so her mama, of course, read her and was like, I'm pretty sure you are the reason why Sasha is in this predicament because your brother told y'all to go home. And so she admitted that. And she was like, yeah, I did. You know, it is my fault. And so she was like, well, does that mean that I can go? And she was like, well, you're going to have to talk to your father about that. I don't like it. I'm looking like, ain't all the kids grown? Everybody that came out of her, ain't all of them grown? Because I'm confused. I could have swore that all of them are grown, like at least 18 years old. Why you need permission from your mama and or daddy to see if you can go live somewhere else? What is going on? I'm so confused. I was like, what? You gotta talk to your daddy for what? For what? Alejandro went to a bar where he met who we learn is his younger sister, and they both thought that the other one was dead. Don't know what was going on with that, but yeah. So anyway, apparently she used to work for him, and when he was presumed to be dead, but we, of course, know now he's not, she was propositioned by his wife to work for her, and she was like, no, what we're not going to do with that. And so he heard about it, and he brought it up to her and was like, well, I heard that you turned it down. Am I, to assume that you still work for me? And she was like, yeah. And so he was like, well, I got something I need you to do. And so she was like, who I need to kill? He was like, nobody right now. I need you to find out my wife's ex-wife, whatever she is, whereabouts, and just her comings and goings. I need you to follow her, and he just needs to know what she does, how she do what she do, because I feel like he wants to be the one to put that final nail in her coffin. So I can't wait for that day. I live for Alejandro. I love this actor in general, y'all. I live for him. And she also let him know that there was something that she had to tell him. And I'm just glad that he was taking shots, because she revealed that, because as soon as she said, I was like, oh God, because I brought this up before as well. Let him know that she has a 15-year-old son and it's not his. Brother Elijah came in while Sasha was actually finishing up a book that he gave her. That's by Carl Weber, who is the person who is responsible for this show and, of course, the books that the show is based off of. And they were talking, and he finds out that she loves to read, and she gets her love of reading from her father, and she told him that he reminds her of her father and all that. They had a moment, and then old boy who's normally in there with them with the locks, he came in and said that Brother Elijah wants to see him. He said that he looks forward to finishing their conversation, and he left. Well, Brother Minister ended up getting a shock when he realizes that he was summoned to meet with Elsie's wife and not him. And he keeps insisting that maybe he needs to meet with Orlando or Elsie, but she was like, no, you got the right one. And so she was like, where is Brother X? He said he don't know nothing about all that. He don't know what's going on. And then he finds out about Sasha. He didn't even know that he was taking hostages and all this other stuff. She done went all the way off on him, but you can tell that mentality that a lot of black Muslim men, at least that I've seen. I don't know how other races of Muslim men act, but a lot of black Muslim men, they have this way of speaking to a woman, and they feel like, I need to go above you and talk to your husband or a man or somebody that is a male. They have to be a male for me to talk to them. I don't need to be talking to you. And she was like, no, it is what it is. If you're not going to help, you need to get out the way. Like, she went all the way off. She's like, we are at war. Anyway, that was the recap review. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I will hopefully be back tomorrow with another one. Y'all have a good one. Bye.